Hi, my name is Mara Shorr, and I am one of the hosts here at Shorr Solutions, the podcast. We are giving my glorious co-host a week off today, and in his place, we have the glorious Katie Martin. And so Katie comes to us with a pretty wide breadth of experience. And so Katie is not only a physician assistant, and Katie, do you go by physician assistant or physician associate? What are we going by? I know you and I talked about this last year.
I feel like they're interchangeable at this point. I'm so used to physician assistant for the past 12 years. That's kind of the way I've been going, but either one works.
Yes. And so Katie, we'll say PA. Katie is a PA. And not only is she a PA, an actual injector day in, day out, and we met actually on the lecture circuit as well. And her topic has been captivating to me every time I see it, so much so that I've even asked her to send me a copy of her presentation so that I can help myself and the people in my world live it, breathe it every day. Katie is also, not only is she with private practice, not only does she travel for conferences, but she is also an injector trainer as well. So with that, Katie, welcome and thank you for being a guest on Shorr Solutions, the podcast.
Mara, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited because I know you and I have just connected over this subject. So it's really cool to be able to do this with you. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, let's dive in. And so there are, you and I attend a lot of conferences, and we are lucky that we more and more so now are getting to attend conferences together. And so we'll text each other, hey, I'm going to be here. I saw you on the schedule, which is always fun when you land and you already have texts from a colleague and a friend that, hey, let's get together, let's bump into each other in the hallways. But you have a very unique topic, which is why I found it so captivating. So while those of us are talking about topics related to HR and the Great Resignation and profit and loss statements, and there's people that are talking a lot about marketing, your topic is very, very different. So can you share the name of the topic, the name of the title, and just a little bit more about the topic that you are most passionate about? Not that you aren't talking about injector training and all of that great stuff, but can you give us a little bit more information and then share where this passion came from?
Absolutely. So, my topic that I like to talk about at conferences, and although now at conferences, my topics have kind of branched out in so many other directions. So now I am also talking about KPIs and injector training. But the one that started with the very first topic was harnessing the power of mindset in your aesthetic practice. And I feel like every time I would go to these conferences, I would love hearing about new innovations in injecting, new innovations in skin treatments. And then also, because I'm VP of Clinical Operations and also a business owner on the other side with the HTV Aesthetics Academy that we train injectors, hearing the business stuff from people like you and Jay Shore and learning about KPIs and the P&Ls and all those things. But what was really missing, I think, was kind of taking a look inside and kind of going the woo route, if you will,
I
with
love a good
mindset.
amount of woo. You and I have so connected over the perfect amount of woo in a practice and in a person.
Absolutely. And I really, so, and the passion came from my own life. Over the past, I would say 5 years, I've really tried to adopt and kind of grow myself and my mindset, my daily gratitude practices, affirmations, and it's really changed the game for me. So, looking at this, how can I help other people explore this side and hopefully help them not only in their aesthetic practice, either be it an injector, a manager, a business owner, but also in their daily life to kind of help and bring more awareness to themselves and their mindset and how they present themselves and their energy to the world. So,
And I love that. And when you talk about how they present themselves, it's not a matter of the clothes you wear per se, right? We're not talking about that. And I think when you're in the business that you and I are both in, we're in the beauty business. And I think so much does tend to focus on the outside and what's
I
going on
agree.
outside, that when we have the chance to have a moment of woo woo, right? That you and I both love, and I think it's not quite as woo woo as as it seems, right? When we talk about the importance of a positive mindset and a grateful mindset and thinking your goals through and looking at why you want the goals that you do and how to achieve them, it makes perfect sense about why we should really all be doing this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I always talk about dreaming big dreams, thinking bigger than you've ever thought before, having that expansive mindset, because maybe it's really not about the goal and actually reaching the goal, but it's who you become trying to reach those goals, which takes you to a whole other level. And maybe, I mean, if we're talking about, say, an aesthetic injector, for example, and getting over your own limiting beliefs about money and that your clients won't pay that for that, and your clients can't afford that. And I tell injectors, you're not in their pockets. You don't know what their bank account looks like. It's their choice, and it's how they want to prioritize their income and their money, and recommend what you think is going to be the best for them. And you'll be really surprised sometimes at who says, absolutely, let's do it. So, I mean, it's just getting over, I mean, then we're going into limiting beliefs, but it's getting over yourself sometimes, right?
Well, and let's get into limiting beliefs. Let's talk. Can you give a few other examples of the limiting beliefs that we have and that you see as far as both maybe in business and even in personal life, that because we know we come to work and there's this mindset of leave your personal life at the door and leave everything else at the door. And I think that in an ideal world, that's great, but you are one person, right? You're still one person. And so it becomes the world and what's going on around you still affects the person that you are, and whether you're in one location or another, which is why being in the best mindset and the best space is just so incredibly important. So can you talk a little bit about limiting beliefs in either person's personal life that would affect them in business, or even how their business limiting beliefs? So we talked about money,
Mhm.
and what we think about other people's money, but let's talk about a few
Mhm.
more.
Sure, yeah. So first, what is a limiting belief, right? So a limiting belief is something that you've told yourself is absolute truth. Now, most of the time it's not, right? So we hear, I think, approximately, like, I forgot what the number is, but this huge amount of thoughts per day that we're going to have to sift through and we're going to have to decide and be more aware of. But a limiting belief typically is kind of set into your mind during childhood. Maybe it was from a parent, maybe from a teacher, but it's something that we've held onto for our entire lives that we believe to be true. So you've heard my talk, but in my example is the sky is blue. And everyone's like, yes, of course it's blue. Yes, we know that.
And I will let you know that every time I look at the sky now, I think of you and I think of that talk.
I
And I
love
think,
it.
is the sky blue? Because
Always.
right, because is the sky always blue? Because, and I'll let you get into the reasons that that's a limiting belief. So, but I
Uh-huh.
think of you every time.
I love that. So yeah, and everyone's like, yes, of course the sky's blue. That's silly. My 3-year-old even knows that. But then you say, is it always blue? Well, at nighttime, it's not blue, right? So this is just a very simplistic example of something that we've been taught in childhood and we've just kept for our entire lives. So then I like to give the example of someone saying to themselves, I am bad with money, right? How
Or
many of us tell ourselves that?
or I'm not good with numbers, right? So whether it's I'm
Yes,
bad with money, I'm not good with numbers.
I'm not good with marketing. I
I'm
am
not good
not
with
good.
yet technology, right? I just don't do well with new technology, right? We hear these limiting beliefs all the time, and we accept them from ourselves, and we accept them from others. We accept their limiting beliefs about themselves.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So all of these things that we're telling ourselves we're not good at or can't do. Well, I bet there's one time that you were good with money. Like maybe it was when you didn't buy those designer shoes and put that into the savings account, or maybe it was that one time you refinanced your home. And there's always going to be probably one thing that you can find where that statement is not true, which inherently then makes the statement untrue totally, right? So, for example, I'm not good at technology. I bet you can give me one time where you were good with technology and you figured it out. So and then we have to think about changing those limiting beliefs, right? So well, first it's becoming aware of them. And sometimes that's the hardest part for people, right? Right?
Yes.
So
So true.
becoming aware of them might be the biggest step, but it is the first step. Once you're aware of that limiting belief, then you find even one or two examples of when it was not true, and then you reframe that. And maybe you reframe it in a way that doesn't feel totally good when you say it. But for example, saying, I'm not good with money, saying, I am great with money and I can save and I can, kind of tell yourself something that might not feel completely true to you. But now we're going into a different topic, but your mind can't tell the difference between reality and your subconscious. So if you continue to say these things to yourself, your mind is going to then start believing them. And then you are then going to put forth actions that make that statement true. So it's this cascade of situations that will then come to fruition. So, but like I said, acknowledging them and recognizing are probably the hardest part of it all.
That is, we see, just like we said, we see it so often, whether it is in our personal lives where it's, oh, I'm not good with money. Typically, if you're in a relationship, one person will say, oh, I'm good with money. The other one goes, oh, good, because I'm not good with money. I see it and I'm not saying that that's always how it goes, but that's where, sometimes I will see that in someone's personal life or, oh, well, I'm no good when it comes to art or home design or things like that. These could be in our own personal lives. And then when it comes to business, it's the things you and we mentioned when it comes to, oh, I'm no good with money or technology or marketing, or, I hear this a lot when it comes to sales. Well, I'm just not a salesperson. And that's right. Exactly.
That's how I feel about that. I know.
Oh,
And,
it's the
and Mara, I said that for a long
I
time.
did too. I
Yeah.
did too. Sales doesn't feel good. Sales is a dirty word. And once I realized that, and to be completely transparent, worked very closely with Adam Haroon from Branding MD. Just Adam has become a very great friend and colleague. So for giving him a bit of a mention is always my pleasure. We refer business back and forth. But once I worked with him about this is really fine tuning the sales process, even for Shorr Solutions in a way that makes sense. It is both, and it's tightening up all those loose ends. I realized that it's not that I wasn't good at it. I didn't have a good framework for it. I didn't have the tools that I needed. And once you have the tools you need and the education you need and the scripting and the verbiage, all those things, it just becomes very natural. It becomes something when you're passionate about that, when it's something that you're passionate about, it is a whole different ballgame. So part of it's finding that passion and finding out what it is you are passionate about.
Yeah, we are in a very unique medical specialty. I think we can all agree on that, right?
We are, yes.
I always tell my new injectors when I was in the ER for the first 5 years of my career, someone would come in and say, okay, you need blood work, you need a chest x-ray, you need this, this, and this. And they really had very little say in most of it, right? Mm-hmm. Now clients are coming into my chair and I tell them, you are the ultimate decider. I am the recommender and I am the educator. But ultimately you get to make the decisions. But we are in a cash-based business. So, and to keep a business running, there have to be sales. But I think as an injector, it's important. I mean, it all plays a role, right? Your confidence in your own injecting skills. But here we go again with mindset, right? Money is simply energy. It is a piece of paper. It is the meanings that we give to it that make it so powerful over us, right? So, but sales are also an exchange
really
of
interesting.
energy.
It's such an interesting way to think about that because I don't know that I've necessarily thought about money like that, right?
Yeah.
You think of money has the value that we have given it. So that's a really
Absolutely.
interesting, very, very interesting perspective.
Oh, I gave Mara mind.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
And what we do with our clients is just an exchange of energy. So we give them a service and they pay us in money. It's just an exchange of energy. So I think being confident, number one, in your own skills and getting all the clinical training that you have. But then again, setting forth, and it doesn't have to feel salesy. And I know it feels icky, and maybe you have limiting beliefs about salespeople. Maybe you think it's a dirty thing to do. Maybe you think they're just in it for them. But if you reframe that into I'm here for my clients and I know what I can provide will be the best results for them. And I know that I can build confidence in them if I give them these results. Then it changes how you look at it and how you present yourself and how you present the recommendations you give to your clients. So,
And I see so many examples of limiting belief in, just in day to day, even with people think about, oh, well, I'm just front desk, or
mhm.
I'm just this, I'm just that. And, even with one of my teenagers, and we were talking, and she got her first job at Big Lots. We're very, very excited, very proud of her. So she has her first job. She's like, look, I get it. It's just Big Lots. And I said, no, this is movement. This is you have your first job. This is a step towards independence. This is you owning your time, and you're going to be meeting more people and learning more skills and saving money for the future, so that she could then exchange that money for a car, for her first apartment, and all of these great things. And we were talking last night, and she even said, this is what my manager does. And I have this great positive manager. So if you work at the Big Lots in Orlando on Colonial, thank you very much. We are a fan of you. But here in Orlando, but with that, she's now taken that limiting belief that is just a job at Big Lots. And we talk about, but these are all of the positive things your manager is doing. You're absorbing them, and that's going to help you when you manage somebody else one day. Because no, you're not managing somebody else at 17 years old, but you will be managing somebody at some point, and you have this great example. So it is no longer
Absolutely.
just and so we're working on reframing that. Even at 17 years old, we're working on really reframing that. And I have to say, I have you to really credit with how to turn around, how to spot those limiting beliefs and how to turn them around. So I've been excited for you and I to share this conversation with the community for a long time.
Well, that makes me really excited because, at the end of the day, Mark, you and I speak on stage and hoping to help one person, right? That is if I can help one person, that's why I went through all the stress about getting ready and being excited about this presentation. And I hope this podcast can help one person. But she's really lucky to have you at such a young age. I did not come into any of this till past my 30 into my 30s, right? So it's completely changed me personally. Like I feel, and my husband will attest to this, a lot of my anxiety has gone away just because of the gratitude practice. And we haven't even talked about that yet, but reframing those limiting beliefs and reframing negative mindset and being aware of those thoughts. So, and in time, although it might sound daunting at the beginning of this, if you decide to go on this journey, but it kind of just becomes habit after a while and you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. So
Yeah, it definitely, and it does. It takes, and I'm of the mindset that we work on, one or a couple things at a time. We're not trying to change
yep.
everything altogether, because if you try and change everything 100%, you're going to get overwhelmed. It's going to be way too daunting, and it's not going to stick. So if you're listening to this, I encourage you to target one limiting belief and work on that, and focus
Mhm,
on how to reframe it, and even bring it up in your next all team meeting with your staff
mhm.
about, let's all talk about what is one limiting belief and have them self-identify. So you're not saying, and this is yours, and this is yours, and this is where you're
Yes.
wrong and you're wrong. So have them identify one limiting belief, and then all work on it together as a community within your practice. Yes, we are going to take a slight break, a slight intermission, because what kind of business would we be if we didn't tell you about our own services? I want to take a minute and talk to you about the Converging Cascade course and all that it has to offer. We want you to be trained to acquire loyal patients and boost your revenue in your aesthetic practice. Now, with our Conversion Cascade online course, you and your team will be able to master 2 key things important to growing your aesthetic practice and becoming successful: acquiring patients and retaining new patients. So, let's talk about a couple of things. As a step-by-step sales funnel training, the course is designed specifically to help you and your team attract more patients, convert more calls to consults, convert consults to treatments and procedures, and to keep your patients coming back for more. Not only will our Conversion Cascade course help to strengthen and develop your team's phone and sales skills in order to acquire, convert, and retain loyal patients, it will serve as a valuable onboarding training tool for every new team member that joins your practice. Yes, every new team member that joins your practice. Plus, in the course, you will receive downloadable marketing checklists, phone scripts, conversion tracking tools, and more. So, sign up for the course to get started on increasing your revenue and acquiring and retaining new and existing patients. Yes, how to acquire and how to keep them coming back for more. It only takes approximately 4 hours to complete. You can finish it at your own pace and you'll have lifetime access. Yes, that is for the lifetime of the course. And a special thank you for being our podcast listener. We'll give you 20% off. Yes, 20% off. Just enter the discount code podcast. Yes, podcast, to start saving now. So click on the link in our show notes to sign up for the Conversion Cascade online course and start acquiring more patients now. We only have so much time together, but I want to talk for just a couple minutes, even though I know you and I could geek out on this all day, and we've talked about this for hours at a time before. Let's talk about the gratitude portion of this. Let's talk about gratitude.
So I think that gratitude is simply the most efficient and quickest way to get yourself from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. And my go-to example, if you're driving to work and you're stuck in traffic, right? Where I've heard this one, but if you're driving to work and you're stuck in traffic and you start to spiral, and I know I've done it in the past, my first client is going to be so mad. I can't believe this traffic. I think, what if she's so angry, she's going to leave a bad Yelp review, and then no one else is going to come into the clinic, and then we're going to have to shut down. Like, you completely spiral and you're just, anxiety's up and you have all these negative thoughts. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and then replace those thoughts with some gratitude. For example, I am so grateful that I have a car to get me to work. I am so grateful that it wasn't me or my family member that caused this accident or was in this accident to cause this traffic. I'm so grateful for my front desk and my MA who will offer that client water and get her numbed for me before I walk in the door. Now imagine scenario 1 when you rush in the door 10 minutes late, and imagine scenario 2 when you walk through the door 10 minutes late. It's a very different energy that you're going to be bringing not only to your staff and your colleagues, but your client too. So like I said, I think gratitude is the easiest, quickest way. And one thing that I've really tried personally to do, because I am the leader of the group of injectors, right? And somewhat the admin team too. I make it a responsibility of mine when I see them doing something that I appreciate to tell them how grateful I am for them. So I think this has been a true uplifting thing that I can do, instead of always saying, well, let's do it this way, let's change this, you're not quite doing this right. When I do see something,
you catch them doing something right.
Oh, and I phrase it as, I am so grateful for you for doing this, and I am so grateful that you thought of this. So that's been a big game changer in the culture.
Yes.
And then culture is a whole other discussion, but
and when we hire, so here at Shorr Solutions, we are, I joke, we're a massive conglomerate. We are a team of 8 people, right? So but we aren't looking to be a team of 400 people. That's just not who Shorr Solutions is. We are boutique. We are really concierge. That's just who we are. But with that being said, we are a close-knit group. We know what's going on with each other's kids. We know, this we send around photos during holiday time. We are, let's hop on and celebrate this thing. Let's all, rally around this team member if they're going through a tough time here, check in, etc. We all work remote, so it does take a little more finagling, but we are a very strong team. But one thing we do with every new team member is we ask about their love language. So I ask them, how do they receive love and positive feedback? Now, I think so often people are used to hearing this in terms of romantic love, but it is really in terms of just how do I tell you that I'm grateful for you. So for those of you that, and I always forget one of the five. So of the five language, and it's never the same one. So of the five languages of love, there is words of affirmation. There is just quality time.
Mhm.
There are gifts. There are physical touch. And then, oh, I got them all, acts of service.
You
I
did
got them
it.
all. So when you have team members, one may really want to hear, I am so proud of you. I am so grateful for you. I could not do this without you. We have had a gazillion presentations that have had to be pulled together for conferences. We're in the thick of conference season right now. And I tell our team, I am so grateful for your help with this. And I am also sorry that I'm making you late with submitting these, but I am so, so grateful for that. And when we get that feedback from our clients that about how much they love our client success managers, I just make sure always to pass on that positive feedback to our team and just let them know I'm so grateful. Now, some of them, they would rather have, some of them, they get a little embarrassed when we say that publicly in a public setting, i.e., an all team meeting, while with others, maybe they would prefer a hug or a handshake. Unfortunately, well, let's be honest, we're remote, so that one's a little harder. Is it that we have, our team members that are here in Orlando? We're able to spend that one-on-one time together and do a breakfast meeting in person versus necessarily over Zoom because we value that quality time in person. And Valentine's Day, we have a team of amazing women, NJ, amazing women, NJ. And so each of them got a massage gift card that they could use in their neck of the woods in their part of the country, so that it was just another little something to make sure we're touching on what is their love language.
Mhm.
So, is it gift, etc. And so I think when you catch your team doing something right and say, I am so grateful for you. Our clients are grateful for you. Jay and I are grateful for you. Your other team members are grateful for you. Thank you so much for all that you do for
Mhm.
everybody. And you are so appreciated because that gratitude is key, right? But I think it's also remembering to show yourself gratitude and show what you're grateful for and not just telling other people all the time.
Absolutely. Yes. And I also tell my clients how grateful I am. And I usually end with especially with new clients, I'll say, I am so grateful that you trust me with your face. I know what a big thing that is. So I think it's a really cool practice. And you're right. But also telling yourself what you're grateful for can change
Yes.
negative emotion quickly.
What if as we start wrapping up our conversation, again, I know you and I could definitely talk about this all day, but with that, if you could just make sure people get one solid piece of advice to, from our conversation today, what would that be?
So there's so many, but if I could give one piece of advice, it would be to dream bigger than you ever thought possible. And I know it sounds cliche and I know it sounds silly, but truly dreaming big, and that will set forth this cascade of things to make you a better human and be able to achieve those things. When you believe it, you can achieve it. I know that's silly, but it's so true.
I love that. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I think just the short version is dream big.
Mhm.
And we, in having conversations, I advocate for amazing kiddos in foster care. And so our awesome 17-year-old for, when we first met her, it was very much, I'm just a foster kid. I'm just a foster kid, right? I'm group home girl. And we heard that a lot. And it was, well, you're no longer in a group home and that is not your only identity. And as we work through catching her up on all the things that for the first time ever, there was always this limiting belief of how far she was able to go in her world. And so as we start achieving more and there's more for her to be grateful for, and there are more people in her world that she loves and love her, there are more boxes that she's able to check educationally, medically, just socially, all those good things. For the first time, she said, wait a minute. So I guess I could go to college. I guess I could, and so it became this conversation even this week about, if I had had this done differently and this done differently and this done differently, it was, I bet I could have gone to Harvard. And my husband, I looked at her and I said, we could still figure some things out. It's not going to be the traditional route, but look, if you want to go to Harvard and we come up with a plan here, we will figure this out. Now, will she actually end up going to Harvard? That's on her. That's on her
Yeah.
how hard she works. And we support whatever it is that she chooses. But the limiting belief of being just a foster kid, and I use that in air quotes because we pull that out from her verbiage all the time, but it is just another example of limiting beliefs. And I think that in a practice, getting rid of those limiting beliefs and dreaming really big, and then Shorr Solutions helps you create the steps to get there. We create the actual day to day of this is how we can make things happen. So
Mhm.
with that, Katie, thank you so much for joining me today, for coming on the podcast. It is just, I know how incredibly busy you are, and I am so grateful that you took the time out to spend time with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so fun. I love talking about this stuff. So this is always a fun time.
And if people want to find you, how do they find you? If they have questions, they want to learn more, how can anybody find you?
Absolutely. So on Instagram, I'm at Katie, Katie .the.injector. Same for TikTok. I am an aspiring TikTok star. Just
Dream
kidding.
big.
Dream big, right? No, I am a TikTok star. That's what I'm telling you.
You are a TikTok star. My TikTok is basically just dog videos. So just not
And
even worth,
me,
not
right?
even worth a mention. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So if they want it, so we have katie.the.injector on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yep.
Anywhere else?
My email, Katie Martin at holdentimelessbeauty.com.
Perfect. And we will put all of that information in the show notes. So if you need to see that in writing, then you are welcome to just go to the show notes. So with that, thank you so much to everybody that has listened, to you that has listened today to another episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast. We are so, so grateful that you are here and you are listening. And if you also want to be a guest on Shorr Solutions, the podcast, because that is your version of Dream Big, here is your opportunity. Let me know. Please go ahead. Send us an email at info@shorrsolutions.com. So with that, thank you so much to everybody that has joined for another episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast. So acquiring, converting, and retaining new loyal patients is easier than you think. It requires you mastering the sales funnel in your aesthetic practice. How is it that easy, you ask? Well, it's easy because we teach you step by step in our Conversion Cascade online course, a fun and results-driven course that you and your team can finish in less than 5 hours. Yes, less than 5 hours, because we know y'all are busy. We provide you 6 training videos that walk you through attracting new patients, converting calls to consults, consults to treatments, and keeping your patients coming back for more. All of this while learning how to talk to your patients about additional treatments and procedures to achieve their dream results, and bonus, boost your revenue and have them singing your praises to others. With our course, you also get tangible tools to help you succeed, such as downloadable marketing checklists, phone scripts, conversion tracking spreadsheets, and more, all of which are completely customizable and editable for you and your practice and your team. Get started and sign up for our Conversion Cascade online course today. And As a special thank you for being a podcast listener, we're giving you 10% off. Yes, 10% off. Just enter the discount code podcast. Yes, the word podcast to start saving. Click the link in our show notes to get started now, increase revenue, and acquire more patients for your practice today. So that wraps up today's episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast. If we mentioned any quote links in our show notes, be sure to check them out for the easiest way to discover your best solutions. You can find them, in our show notes. We love your help in spreading the word about our podcast. How? Rate us and share this episode with your friends, colleagues, and the rest of your team. Remember to follow us on social media at Shorr Solutions and send us a message directly with your burning questions. We love hearing from you. Plus, sign up for our e-newsletter to be the first to find out about our upcoming webinars, the latest tips on running your practice more efficiently, dealing with the issues with drama and money in your practice, and watch the latest videos and blog posts in your inbox right in real time. Now's the time to join at www.shorrsolutions.com and click on the e-newsletter button in the top right-hand corner. We'll see you next time. And remember, subscribe to this podcast and leave us a review.